I'm having about 100 to like my business. That's how it's doing. It's doing good. It's doing how I want it to do. All the fun updates. It was a highly requested video. Video, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Yulisa and I just give you tips and tricks to help you run your notary business or start your notary business. And in today's video, I am just going to give you updates on everything for 2024 when it comes to the market, how it's doing, how my personal business is doing, and just all the fun updates. It was a highly requested video. Let's just get right into the video. So grab your drink. We're just going to chit chat. I think it's been a very long time since I've made one of the, made a sit down video. I don't do those as often anymore. It's just, I don't know. I really got into the vlogs and they're really fun to film and they're a lot easier for me to just make. And then sometimes I feel like these are boring and people like more of just doing things. But if you do like these types of videos, please like this video so that I know and make some more of these videos. And any videos that you want to see from me, please leave them down in the comment section. I just made some fresh Jamaica. It is so good. So where do I even begin? I pretty much gave you a couple little updates and I've just sort of talked about this a little bit on my previous vlogs, but I am not a full-time notary right now, currently, again. So basically I went back to full-time in September and I was full-time for a couple weeks, and then I got this job offer that I applied for a very long time prior to me getting the job offer. So I was honestly not expecting anything when I got it, and it was a really, really good offer that was really hard for me to turn down. It's a government contractor. And I really can't and will not talk about it, but it's just basically a government contractor and I work as a administrative assistant there. And I just could not turn it down. And so I thought, before I accepted the job offer, I did have a couple weeks of me coming back as a full-time notary and letting my clients know that I was a full-time notary. But something that I realized is a lot of my clients are only giving me signings after 5. Anyways, even when I was full-time, because the market isn't and hasn't been where it was 2-3 years ago. The market is just nowhere near that. Like, we don't have that refi boom and we don't have those low interest where the market is just overly saturated with business. But there is business and there will always be business. There will always be houses for sale and people buying homes and people selling homes. Like, we have to have somewhere to live, and people move a lot, especially in the States. It's something that I've noticed, that people love to move around a lot to including just to different states all over the nation, or people just love to upgrade or even just acquire these rental properties. The market isn't going anywhere, but it's just not the market that we were seeing during the pandemic and even after, during 2020 to 2022, which is when a lot of businesses boomed because there was a huge demand for the real estate industry. So there was a huge demand for loan officers and realtors. It created a lot of jobs and a lot of demand for all these different people in the industry, including notaries. And so obviously when that died down, I did see a lot of cuts in title companies, in real estate. A lot of people started getting primary jobs and making their real estate job a secondary job just because the market was not where it used to be. You were not just getting random calls for work and getting saturated with work. 2023 was not that. 2023 was the year for you to really grind, really work hard, and really, really go out there and put yourself out there, put your business out there and work for it, because there was less demand and a lot more notaries. So I did notice that a lot of notaries did quit or went back to just part-time, including myself. I went from having about 100 to over 100 signings in a month to really dying down to about 40. And still 40 is a really good number, but when you have that, it was still a really good number, but once you get to a certain point and you have these certain expenses, and then your 40 no longer meets the expenses that you have, which is what I had and happened, that's when you sort of start noticing like negative balances, because your revenue isn't equaling your expenses anymore. Not only that, but I did get really burned out, and I've talked about this a lot because I did go into the industry when it was such a high demand. I feel like I didn't have time to really ease into it slowly. I was kind of like, hey, I'm a notary, I'm ready and I'm available. And like people started calling me like crazy, which is a really good thing and it's a huge blessing. But when you get onto that high, it's just like non-stop. Okay, I want more, and just marketing and people saying, yes, we have business, because there was just so much business. It really burns you out, and you even question like, is this what I want to do? Like you kind of put a negative perspective into something that you're working towards or into something that you're working in. And so that's just basically what happened. I had like this negative perspective of it because I was just so burned out. I was so tired. I wasn't taking care of my mental health or my physical health. And so when last year I went back to part-time, it was such a great thing to do mentally because it gave me time to do other things. But at the same time, even though I went part-time, I was still sometimes, after my 9-to-5 job, I was still working on 2-3 signings at night with printing and driving and actually executing the signings and scanning documents and then dropping them off. That was a full-time job in itself. And so I was kind of tired, but it was good because it helps you pay off debt and everything. But at the same time, it's really exhausting because you never get to fill up your cup with other things that bring you joy, whatever it is that you do, any hobbies, any activities, any sports or gym or health, just healthy things into your mind, body, and soul. And so it just really, you burn it on both ends, And so I decided to go back to full-time once I had enough signings. Once I saw like the market was picking up and I had enough signings that I was saying no to. So I was losing a lot more business than what I was making at the firm that I was working at. And plus, that place was just a chaotic place. It is a very high stress level job. You're working with people's investments, and it's an investment firm, and people call in to do day trades, and people call in to demand certain things. And it is just nonstop. That's when I decided to go back to full-time. But I did notice that a lot of my clients, even though I told them I'm back to full-time, I'm available for you anytime, any day, a lot of them were just using me after 5 p.m. or on the weekends when they couldn't take the signings themselves. Why? Because they were trying to save their clients money, and they were trying to cut down in expenses as much as they could, so they would remove notaries during the day. Plus, they now have more time on their hands to do these closings because they don't have the demand. Like the demand for closings isn't as much as it used to, so now they have more time to take the signings themselves. And so it just, you notice that, and it really depends in the area that you live. But I live in a small town, and people don't mind going into title and signing their documents. Once you have a bigger city, like I live in Arizona, but I live in a small town. But once you have a bigger city like Phoenix and Glendale and Mesa, you have notaries running around all the time, everywhere, because you do not get, your closing is not going to be in an office close to you. That's not what it's based off of. It's based off on either the realtor or the lender who you're working with, and they work with that specific title company. And so you could live in one city and then your signing is in a completely different city, like an hour away, and that's when notaries come in, and it really is helpful. But when you live in a small city and everything is within 20 minutes or less, people don't mind, and that's when it becomes a little bit more hard. And so that's something that I ran into a lot with realtors, especially because before the pandemic, notaries here were, yeah, you could get a notary, but it wasn't something that was highly known of, or people even thought of doing, or title companies didn't really even have notaries who they could call if they had signings after 5 p.m. or on the weekends. They would make their clients get out of work early because they had to close at title. I remember that's what happened with me. Like my husband and I both had to leave work early to sign our closing for our house. And so once the pandemic hit and title companies closed down their doors, they started looking for notaries like crazy. And then that's when realtors and lenders, I would get this question a lot, and I still get it sometimes, especially now that the business died down a little. I get the question of, so why would I recommend a notary to my client? Like, it's gonna cost them. And I'm like, at first it kind of made me really upset. And then the more I thought about it, the better I actually wanted them to ask me that question so that I can explain how much value I bring to the table. Because it's the same thing if you think about it. Why does a client need a realtor? A lot of the time, especially if you're buying a new build, you really don't need a realtor. I didn't use a realtor. And do I regret it? Yes, but that's another video. But that's kind of like what I tell them. That's my story. Like, I didn't use a realtor when I was buying my home because it was a new build. I didn't think I needed one. And did I go through it without one? Yes, I did. But there was a lot of challenges, and I could have really used one. And so it's more of the value that you bring to the table, and that really takes away from your commission. Like, if you bring this value to the table, into my closing, into my entire transaction, and I know that I'm taken care of, I'm not having to fight with the builder over all these little details, but you, my realtor, are doing it, I'm not going to mind the commission. And so that's basically how I explained it. I, as a notary, am here to bring value. I'm here to help assist title because they're really busy trying to close off all these closings for you. So in order for us to give you better value, and in order for title to give you a better service, and for them to close your closing as soon as possible, they hire out these notaries to help the part of the closing, to help with your transaction. And not only that, but I am an experienced loan signing agent. I will let your client know what the documents are that he, she are signing. And so I basically start talking about that. And once they know you know what you're doing, it's just like, oh. And I was like, wow, I want people to ask me that question now. At the beginning, yeah, it upset me. But now it's just like, go ahead, ask me. Don't be shy. I will let you know. And so that has really helped my business, because I do get a lot of business from my lenders and from my realtors. They call me when they have a signing and they're like, I want you to take it. I told title and you'll be coming in today. And that really opens a lot of doors, because that opened doors for more title companies to know my value and to use my services. When I got that job offer, it was just hard. It was hard for me personally to go back to a 9-to-5, but also it was hard for me because of my YouTube channel, and just like, I always want to be fully transparent with you guys. And it was hard for me because I'm like, I'm letting down everyone. I'm letting down myself. I'm letting down my business. Like, am I going to do this again? Like, am I going to keep being a notary? Like, what am I doing? What do I want? What is my goal? And so my mental state for the past couple of months hasn't been, I think for the last year, just hasn't been good. And that comes from all the time that I neglected my health and I neglected my mental state and my mental health. And so it all caught up to me. And right now, at this moment, if you ask me, what is my goal? Where do I see myself in 5 years? Happy and healthy. Like that's all I care. As long as I have my family, I'm healthy, I'm happy, my bills are paid, and I have a roof over my head, like, I'm happy. Like, that's right now, that's my goal. And for a while, it was hard for me to find myself there, because I was constantly, when people ask me, I'm like, well, I want this business to grow. I want to have a revenue of 200K, or like, especially a couple years ago, like I was just like hustling. And I was like, I want to have at least 2 employees, and I want to build this business off of that business. And yeah, it's a great mindset to have this entrepreneur mindset. But at the same time, it's like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting trying to do everything at once and trying to always be go. And this like hustle culture that we live in is so exhausting. It's like, if you're not doing enough, it's like, what are you even doing with your life? And that's something that everything happens for a reason. But this year, earlier this year, my grandma passed away. And so that just really, when things like that happen, you just really sit down and put everything into perspective. I sat down and I was like, if something were to happen to me and I can't take any more signings, or I can't go to work, I am replaceable. Yes, I know that my clients love my services and they love my company, but if I shut down my doors to my notary business right now, they're going to go use another notary. Am I okay with that? And I was. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Because I rather know that I am happy and healthy than trying to always like chase this. It was just so exhausting trying to always chase people and asking and like marketing for signings. And I got to the point where I was very comfortable with the clients that I had and with the work that I had. But I obviously, in order to keep growing your business, you have to keep growing your revenue by continue to market and open your doors to even more people. But that just to me was not my goal anymore. Especially after this happened, I haven't taken that many signings this year because my grandma got sick very early in February. We were in the hospital with her for a week and a half, and then her services and everything. So basically the entire month of February, I was MIA. I told my clients what was going on, and I said no to a lot of signings. And I started taking signings back in the middle of March. So I said no to a lot of signings, and at that point, I didn't care that they would end up not using me because I kept saying no. I didn't care because, one, I obviously have built this relationship with my clients over the years that I know that, yeah, they can use another notary right now, but they will eventually still keep using me because we have this friendship. And then two, I just, especially in the time of grief, it's like the least thing that you care about, which is good because it teaches you a lot of things. And so that's when I told myself, I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to enjoy the little things. I want to be able to go to the gym and do the little things that make me happy. And right now, I still am a notary. I still make money off on my notary business. If you haven't seen my vlogs, I still post those, but I'm not chasing them anymore. Like, I still do my gratitude gifts and I still showing up, but right now in the season that I am in, I'm not chasing them. I'm not marketing my business. And maybe eventually I want to go all into it again, or maybe just take it slowly. I feel like that would be helpful to like just take it slowly. But for now, I do still have work. I think I make about like $550 a week additional from like what I make in my 9 to 5, but I make around like 5 to 550 on my notary business weekly, with about 3 to 4 signings a week. And that is not that much. Sometimes I have like 2 during the week and then 2 on a Friday. And that just, it keeps me busy, keeps me motivated. It keeps me doing the things that I love, because I really love being a notary. I love being a signing agent and really explaining the documents to my clients, especially my Spanish speaking clients that are buying their first time home, and they've really worked so hard their entire lives to buy a home, and they're finally being able to, and just being a part of their like transaction and being a part of that dream is like such a beautiful feeling. And you really have to love what you do. You can't just treat people, because I've seen it and it's not fair to anyone. You can't just treat people like a transaction. You can't just treat people like this is a check and it's a job and it's money. Like, you have to love what you do. If not, then don't do it, because you're not going to do it right, or people are going to notice that. People are not going to like that. And plus, like, why would you want to do something that you don't want to do? And that's just bringing me, that just kind of ties everything together for me. Like, I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm loving what I do. And I currently, which is crazy, but I do really like my government job. Like, it is such a great opportunity financially, but also they just treat me so well. No micromanaging. I work Monday through Thursday, like the dream schedule. I'm home by 4 p.m., sometimes before then. And like, it's just, working with them is, I just really have really good work relationships, and I'm happy. And it's really healing me. It's healing me mentally. And it's just what I needed. And so probably, maybe this wasn't the update that you were looking for. This is more of my personal update. Now, that's just what I'm gonna say about that. Like, my business, that's how it's doing. It's doing good. It's doing how I want it to do. So I haven't taken signings for a big chunk of the year, but I was getting, obviously, all the calls, the notifications, the emails, everything for signing appointments. And I really have seen that the demand for, or just the market in general this year in 2024 is higher than it was in 2023. One, people are getting used to the interest rates being high, and they know that they're probably going to be like that for a while. So people are not waiting to buy the home of their dreams. Instead, most of the appointments that I have of new home buyers typically have a conversation of, yeah, the interest rate is high, but I'm going to refinance as soon as it drops down. The interest rates are not stopping people to buy homes like it did last year. A lot of people really like went to a screeching halt because of the interest rates. And so I have seen, because I do have a lot of real estate friends, how there is been more competition in the housing market than what I've seen in the last like 12 or 18 months. It's just really been picking up. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere near what we were in 2022 unless we do have an interest rate dive down and people start refinancing. Everyone, once we do have a refi boom, everyone that bought a house last year and this year are going to refinance their houses, because they all want to cut their interest rates in half or even lower them. It's just insane. I've seen a lot of really high interest rates, but the highest that I've seen is like a 10-11%, and I'm like, whoa, that's just really high interest rate. And so once we do have a refi boom, that is what's going to happen. We're going to have a huge demand of loan signings and of closings, because all these people that are buying houses right now are going to refinance. But right now the market is doing really good. I've seen people really still the competition is really going up. I've seen people lose offers because it's kind of becoming like a mini bidding war again. And so that gives us all hope, and it's it's good to see. So yeah, that's the update on the market itself. If you're thinking about starting your own notary business, or if you are just starting your notary business, honestly, all you have to do is know what you're doing, make sure people know that you know what you're doing, and really just go out there and meet people, either by door-to-door knocking or, you know, bringing in marketing goodies to title companies and real estate companies, or just by joining any events. All of your realtors are going to be at networking events because them too are trying to find clients and trying to find connections and meet people. Open houses are a great way to do that too. And then just make sure that you're signed up to all of your signing services, because you will get a lot of signings from signing services too. And that's where you can really just start and make sure that you learn as much as you can from the signings that you take with your signing services. A lot of signing service owners can really just sit down with you and answer your questions without you feeling like, oh, they're gonna think that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, we rather you ask and we explain to you than you trying to figure it out on your own and then it's wrong. So we really try and help our notaries. That is the advice I would give you guys, is just really make sure that you take a really good training course. I obviously always tell you to take the NNA course, but besides the NNA, you do need something else, because the NNA is very just kind of like a glimpse of it. It doesn't really dissect documents or tell you certain loan terms that you're gonna learn. So I would just say go with another one. I do obviously always recommend the loan signing system, which is linked down below. They're all linked down below. And a lot of people always ask me, like, what are the next steps? Like, what can I do to start my notary business? And I do have a video on that, which I probably have to like sit down and re-film that video. But I also do have my Etsy shop, and I do have my business cards and different templates that you can use, but I do have a like checklist that you can buy. It's a digital product and you can buy it, and it just has a checklist for you of basically what you need to get first in order to start your notary business. So if that is helpful, I will leave it linked down below. Again, I will continue filming my vlogs. They've been really fun to film, and I'm hoping to film like funner ones. The last ones have just been me taking signings, and like it's helpful because once something happens in the signing, I can just sit down and talk to you guys about it, like something that I learned or something that like maybe I wouldn't have thought of telling to you guys. So it's kind of like taking you on day to day and really just kind of like helping you guys out with my own experiences. I don't know. So I just hope that they're helpful, but I do plan on doing like some funner ones, like including, I'm gonna just include my marketing in my vlogs. And I do have a lot of different tips and things in my vlogs. And then I do have a vlog that is coming up that I basically talk about how I am going to renew my commission, because it's been 4 years and I do have to renew. And so that'll be coming up in a vlog. So yeah, I just want to help you and just obviously always motivate you, but always give you like my genuine review and opinion about what's going on. I just really hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you're all doing well. God bless, guys. Bye.